And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. Lanny Ford along with you here on a Friday morning. Cool and crisp. About 56 degrees when I came in this morning. We won't waste your time. We'll go straight to our phone line, bring our guest on that visits with us every week. Bill Bender, Sporting News. Good morning to you, sir.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Two big stories came out of last weekend. Both of them surprised me, I'll have to say. The first one, the firing of Scott Frost. Obviously, it was not a money issue because if they'd have waited a couple of weeks, they could have saved some money. But I don't know, does it make any difference to have let him go when they did?
I think it's just what they wanted. They wanted to try to salvage what's left of the season. It was clearly probably pretty toxic if they're going to do something like that. Yeah, it's an interesting situation. So, yeah, I think for Nebraska it's time to restart. We'll see where that goes. Obviously, could end up with a Matt Campbell, a Lance Leopold, somebody from one of those places that they used to dominate in the Big 12. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you get off to a 1-3 start or 1-2 start.
Any chance, you know, of course, you have the folks that the names always circulate, but is there any chance that Urban Meyer's in the mix, or is he too toxic?
I don't know that he's too toxic. I mean, people will do anything to win college football games, you know that. But I don't know if that's the job for him. I don't know that that's where Trev Alberts is going to go. I think he'll look elsewhere. You know, anybody that goes after Urban Meyer, it will come down to the fact that he wins football games and not the baggage he comes with. I do think he's outstanding in the studio, and after a year or two in the studio, that name will start popping up again. But I think Nebraska would be better served to go after a Matt Campbell, a Lance Leopold, Dave Aranda. Jamie Chadwell's the name that's popped up. I think he'd do a good job there too.
Now, Jamie Chadwell, that's Coastal? Am I remembering right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, his name popped up on a lot of radars last year.
He's a good coach, and he's built a really good program there around a fun offense. I mean, that's the thing. When you watch Coastal games, they're fun to watch because the offense is fun to watch. A great quarterback there. Things that Nebraska hasn't had in a few years. So, yeah, that's the reason why his name keeps popping up.
Yeah. Talking with Bill Bender from Sporting News, a couple of stories that came out that I didn't really understand. The ADs have expressed preference to keep FBS under the NCAA. What's the reasoning behind that, do you think? I wouldn't have thought that.
No, I mean, it sounds like that there wasn't an interest to break away as kind of reported. That was a big win with the playoff expanding the way it did for the group of five to get inclusion in that. I think the realignment moves were TV-based, and maybe all of these moves mean that there'll be less expansion, less realignment over the next few years because they're at least going to try to get this thing moving and seeing what it does. But, I mean, in a way, that's good. That protects places like all those Sunbelt schools that won last week. It means something then. Like, you know, with App and Marshall and Georgia Southern in a 12-team playoff, that's a huge win for those schools.
And, of course, that was the second big story that came out, the big App win. And then College Game Day making a trip to Boone, which, you know, you wonder, okay, where have you been? Because Appalachian has been doing some of this, but it's nice to see some recognition coming to some other schools. And I hate it for Texas A&M. I'm a little concerned Texas A&M may take one on the chin this week.
Yeah, I mean, Miami's a good team. And with Miami doing that, I think Tyler Van Dyke's a very good quarterback. They've got enough talent to go win on the road. It really is going to come down to how Texas A&M comes out emotionally after suffering a defeat like that. And two, it would come down to their offense has to get going. They had 189 yards of offense last week. No matter if you're playing App or somebody else, you're not going to win too many games doing that. So I think that's been the biggest criticism of Jimbo is the offense. And to look for them to do some tricky stuff early, like just to get the crowd going, get the offense going, get the ball to their two playmakers, Evan Stewart and Aeneas Smith.
Well, it's I don't want to draw any correlations here, but the last time that App State pulled off the big win like this, it was at Michigan. And when that happened, they went into a spiral that wound up, making a coaching change at the end of the year. And I want to say they were 4th or 5th ranked in the nation when Appalachian went to Michigan and won that one the first time.
Well, I mean, App they were 5th. I did the stat last week. App has played 6 games his last 6 games against Power 5 opponents. They've split. They've won 3, they've lost 3.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those games have been decided by 7 points or less. They played Tennessee tough. They played Penn State tough. They split with North Carolina. They beat South Carolina. It really is amazing what they've been able to accomplish there, and they've grown from that upset, and it's really been cool to watch.
The other thing, I guess it was surprising to me, and my favorite question when I see a game that I'm really not sure what the behind-the-scenes meaning is, the Texas-Alabama game, does it say more about Texas? Does it say more about Alabama?
Well, probably Texas, because it says, they're getting a little bit closer, and a lot of people this week have asked me if Quinn Ewers finished the game, would they have won? Maybe. I mean, he came out slinging it and had a really good start to the game. So, that's what it says to me anyway. I think Alabama had a really bad game. They had too many penalties. They had too many dropped passes. They've got other tough road games coming. So, and last year they lost on the road and had a couple close shaves at Florida and Auburn. Mm-hmm. They barely won the Auburn game. Mm-hmm. So, we'll see where it goes, but I think Alabama needs to become a better road team, and I think Texas is a pretty good team no matter what.
Mm-hmm. One of the other teams that's really kind of surprising, and people are starting to call them a football school instead of a basketball school, is Kentucky and what Mark Stoops has done up there. When you look at their schedule, I only see 2 games that probably will be hard for them to win, no more than 2. That is Tennessee, because it's at Knoxville, and Georgia. Now, would Mark Stoops, could that be a move he would make to Nebraska, or would that be a lateral or a down move? His name's been thrown around.
Yeah, it has, but I think he'll stay in Kentucky. I mean, right, it'd probably be a lateral move at this point, given what he's built at Kentucky and how, if Nebraska would take what Kentucky is right now, winning 9 games, behind Georgia in the pecking order, but that could be a really good game between Kentucky and Georgia later this year. So all of those things, looking forward to. So I think it's one of those deals where I think Mark Stoops isn't going anywhere. He just got the big extension, and that's a tribute to what he's done and just another creative way of saying this is what Nebraska has become.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. The other big story was the NCAA telling schools to remove recent portal entries. Did something happen and I missed that? Did they come up with some boundaries on the portal and did it in the middle of the season?
I would anticipate they will come up with more because of the number that are going in and out of the portal, because of the way it's being used, and it's not exactly the intention that it was being used when the rule came. But they've bumped into it's one of those, now that you've let that happen, it's hard to take it back. But I think they are going to put some restrictions on it. That's the beginning of it. And the times in which you can use the portal so that it's more efficient and better serving both coaches and programs and players.
Right. Now, there's a big game tonight, mainly from a coaching standpoint, because I would think, especially on the Louisville side, that seat's getting a little hot for Scott. Of course, he pulled out a win last week that was big, but Florida State goes to Louisville. Louisville needs to win, but so does Florida State.
Yeah, this game used to be for the top half of the division. It remains to be seen if that's still the case. I think Satterfield's got to have this one more, though, I think. The old App coach had been hit or miss for him and hit or miss for Malik Cunningham as the quarterback there. Florida State, off to a good start, if they could win this one, Mike Norvell will definitely have some serious momentum going in the right direction for them the rest of the ACC Atlantic season.
What do you make of the Notre Dame loss last week?
I mean, it's bad. They stick when you lose at home. Notre Dame gets more attention for a home. I would say that probably got more attention than Texas A&M or Nebraska because it's Notre Dame. In some ways, it's credit to Marshall, obviously. Great. Pat Forty had a really nice piece about them. I was reading this morning.
Yes.
And it's also a sign that the honeymoon's over for Marcus Freeman. And it's one of those deals where they're going to have to continue the momentum in recruiting. They have to win a game. I mean, they got to start by beating Cal and then getting the program pointed in the right direction. I do think it's the case too against Ohio State. In that game, they were getting beat up pretty good physically, and a little bit of a hangover game. And it doesn't help that they lost their quarterback, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to say the least. Would you say the Miami Texas A&M game is the marquee game of the weekend?
I mean, there's a little bit off of it because A&M lost. I like Washington, Michigan State. I think that'll be a really good game. I think Penn State, Auburn. There's a couple 2-0 teams. See if Penn State's good enough to go win on the road. And you know how it is, Lanny. Every weekend where we're like, oh, the schedule's not that great.
It's great.
It just it ends up things like last weekend start happening, and it gets contagious, as you know.
Yeah. Final question: has the shine come off of Liberty a little bit? They're going to roll into Winston-Salem and try to upset Wake Forest. Now, if Hartman were not back, I would think they would have a decent chance, but I'm not so sure now.
Yeah, I mean, Hartman's playing well. That Wake Forest offense is clicking, and I think Wake Forest is going to get the dub and barrel toward next week's game, which could be exciting against Clemson. Clemson's still working out some things offensively, but they've got an elite defense. And Wake Forest, they didn't miss a beat with Hartman last week. It was good to see him on the field. They've covered the last 2 weeks. They've got a good offense there, and that'll be a really good ACC game.
No, I agree. Have a good weekend, my friend. I appreciate you working us in, and appreciate your time as always.
Oh, no problem, Landy. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, man. That's Bill Bender, Sporting News, and we like to get his content in here. I'm going to take a break, then I got some thoughts about the upcoming games for the weekend.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Fort Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Do not adjust your computer. That is not a figment of your imagination. Phil Rembert just shows up. What a guy. So impressed, by the way. He just shows up. Team player. He's here today. Let me get back over here. I'm switching computers. Spectrum is coming. Sunday at 8 o'clock is my scheduled appointment. Sunday at 8 o'clock for Spectrum. Mikey, good morning. Did you get your surgery? I hope you got your surgery and everything's going well for you. Richie, good morning. Richie says A&M's this year's overrated team. However, Miami may still pull a Miami. We'll see if Cristobal can keep that from happening.
Well, I mean, if
I
there's
think
a guy
that's
that
the upset special of the week.
Yeah, I think if there's a guy that can, that it would be Cristobal. But hey, it's all good.
Yep. Teamwork makes the dream work. Listen to it, Richie.
Oh man,
listen to that.
Hey, I get to instead of I have to, right?
That's right.
We're all being positive.
Richie said a Liberty football player called Wake's offense cute. If you want to call an offense that could score 40 on you cute, then I would take a cute offense. I asked Bill that question in the previous segment. Has the shine worn off of Liberty a little bit?
Yeah.
And I think they're kind of like some other teams. They're not sneaking up on anybody anymore.
App sneaks up on nobody anymore.
Yeah.
Liberty doesn't speak.
No.
JMU.
And, Bill gave me a good stat. He said they've split. They've played 6 top-tier FBS teams, ranked teams, and split with them, 3-3. And so, that's great. Carrie said 4's looking for breakfast.
Okay. Just came from one with the kids.
Okay. Yeah. We had lunch yesterday down at the hub. Yeah. And that was a really good taco bar. That's the first time I've had that.
They do it on Thursdays.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal.
I have to kind of put that in my train of thought. She
started opening Sunday for lunch. So it's getting
I want to keep that in mind.
Getting interesting.
Hearing rumors that we may have a new restaurant coming to Maiden. I won't elaborate, but I'm hearing rumors, maybe pizza and wings.
Yeah, and then a full menu off of that as well. So,
I will confirm it when I see the construction going on because they're talking about doing some remodeling.
Right. But a very good friend of mine that I've known many years here, he told me earlier this week, I believe it was on Tuesday, and somebody else had confirmed it. Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I think that'll be good for us.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of people. We got so many housing developments that, and new people that'll be coming into the area the next, 3 to 5 years that it would be good to, have a good variety of places.
Richie's looking forward to taking his family to the L.R. Erskine game.
Yeah, that'll be a good
tomorrow.
football game. That'll be a good game. That'll be good. That's good football.
I'll be watching it. You can watch it on Flow Sports. Flow Sports is the network, and it's not expensive. You can get that. So if you're interested, you may want to do that. I was talking to Bill, and I didn't even, I'm a halftime guy.
Yeah.
On night games.
We all know that because
that's just the way. Yeah.
Early
Kansas City barely beat the Chargers. Justin Herbert went 334 yards.
Yeah.
27-24.
It was very interesting last night. I as you watched the first half, I came back from the Maiden East Burke JV game at East Burke,
which they won, right?
Which they won, and saw the second half of the Kansas City Chargers game. What was interesting is it was a game that was truly about field position in the second half, and Mahomes really couldn't get anything going. Even though Herbert threw for those yards, they were very tough yards for him to get. There was not a lot.
I like him.
You do or don't?
I like him.
Oh, I'm big on him.
These young quarterbacks, Mahomes, Herbert, Allen in Buffalo. I mean, Joe Burrow. I like those guys.
It's a good group for us to be able to, the next gen, next generation for us to follow. The interesting thing about the game last night was Andy Reid decided to go for the tie, which 6 one way, half dozen other. When it was 17-14, when they were down on like the 2 or 3 yard line, I got to tell you, after watching how things unfolded a couple of times, I'm not so sure they could have scored if they'd have gone for it. Because that little shuffle pass they do underneath, where he throws it underhand, he sprints out one way and shuffles it back under.
It's like just his ability to his field vision is amazing, and the different ways that he can get the ball out.
But I will and I agree with that 100%. But I will tell you what was interesting last night. The young corners are learning so quick, and I don't care what team they're playing on because of all the film that's out there and the way they can study. There was a kid last night that stepped in front of a ball that Herbert, would normally have a completion and for a touchdown. He took it to the house.
Yeah.
That was what won the game. And people say, obviously they won by 3. No, what I'm saying is it was a game of field position. And you might say, well, most games are. That's not necessarily true because of the gunslinging that goes on, okay?
And usually
last night was.
But field position usually is played by teams that are defensive specialists. That's 2 offensive teams right
but
there.
It was crazy because the Chargers defense looked, at times really, really good.
Yeah.
And, of course, Kansas City's got the one guy, number 95, is it Chris Jones? They said he's changed his lifestyle as far as eating and, eating healthy foods and all. Let me tell you something. That guy used to be pretty big with a belly and everything. Lenny, last night, and I don't know if our friends were watching that or really paying close attention to it, but when they pointed out, I started looking at it. That kid looks amazing. And he is 300 and X amount of pounds, and he moves like he's a wideout.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yep. Richie said, how do you feel about Thursday night game on Prime? Well, here's the deal, Richie. I cut the cable years ago, and I'm YouTube TV, and I've got Prime, and I've got Fox Nation, and I've got all of these places that I can go, which I like because then I control where I want to get my programming. But the thing that impressed me most from last night and Monday night, you've got real broadcast crews now.
Okay. So Herb Street and what was his name? The other guy. Al? No.
Al Michaels
Yeah,
last
yeah,
night.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sorry. I just
Yeah.
said that was very, very good. There was no obliviation on things. It was very friendly.
And
but at
Joe
the
and
same-
Troy Monday night. It's been a long time since Monday Night Football has had a real Broncos.
dude, they
crew.
knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess since Trico left with Gruden.
He
With
did.
Gruden
he
and
did.
Trico.
Yeah, he
that
did.
was probably
Yeah.
the last good
Yeah.
crew they had.
Yeah, they were really good. So what you talking about, like streaming and cutting the cord? What Mandy and I did was we have a place, like I was telling you up in Newland, up there, and we have Spectrum. Well, I've got Spectrum Internet down here, so I've got cable up there. Well, in the mountains, you have two CBSs because you have the Tennessee CBS, and then you have the one out of Charlotte. Okay, same thing with
all your networks.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I had DirecTV here, and I had like Sunday Ticket. I said, wait a minute, I can get any game I want because I can stream because I have Spectrum Internet. I can stream the local channels from up there onto my my TV. So it's like, wait a minute, this is crazy. So what I get to do on Sunday, I watch the Steelers and Bengals because they were being televised out of Tennessee.
Right.
So, how do you like this? How do you like that? I think it's just the way we're going right now with the world.
Yeah. Nope. And I like it. Rich said he didn't realize Herb Street was doing Thursdays. Yeah,
Oh,
and
he's really good.
And he's still doing his ESPN thing.
He is. And they were telling him, and Al Michaels said, hey, enjoy Boone. And Herb Street started laughing. My niece is up there in Boone. She's a freshman. She sent pictures last night with game day rolling in. The streets.
They stopped in Hickory.
Hey, did they really? The streets were packed.
Yes.
I mean, it looked like a World Series parade in New York.
What do they call it? The fan pit.
Yeah,
the backdrop.
Yeah.
500 students is what they're going to allow in. You can get in line. They're going to open it up at 5:30 a.m.
Right.
That's when you can line up to get in.
They'll be there all night.
Did you know that the best poster, the best signage that they pick gets a year of tuition free?
No.
Yeah, from Appalachia. Yep. And there's some like $500 scholarship.
There's great stuff.
Yeah,
that goes
I
on
mean
there.
that's awesome. Let me give you my picks for the NFL and for college. I took Kansas City last night.
Yep, good pick.
I am sitting in second place behind Adam Chase, Allen Haynes, Bob Duckworth, Todd Herms. They've all got 20 points. I've got 19. 4 is tied at 19 with me, and my wife is tied at 19, but she didn't make a pick last night and missed
Kimbo.
it. And happy birthday to you, honey.
Oh, happy birthday, Miss Ford.
My picks, I am taking my New York Football Giants over to Carolina Panthers.
Bingo, baby.
This one was tough. I almost went, and I may go back and change it the more I think about it. I took Indiana over Jacksonville. Jacksonville's going to break through.
I did Jacksonville.
I'm
Yeah.
just really
that was
thinking
borderline.
about
I was
that.
like you. That's the way I felt about that.
And here's
one.
another one that I'm torn apart. Miami and Baltimore.
I think I picked Miami.
I took Baltimore. I may go back and change some
I mean,
of
but
these.
I know
Yeah,
what you're saying.
yeah.
Like these are really good.
Now, I think Pittsburgh will dominate.
Yep.
The Patriots. Cleveland will beat the Jets because everybody beats the Jets. Tampa Bay will beat New Orleans and Crab Legs. I took Detroit over the Commanders.
I did too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think Washington's there.
Right.
Rams over the Falcons. I took the 49ers over the Seahawks. This was another kind of iffy game. The Cardinals and the Raiders. I took the Cardinals. Cincinnati will beat the dog crap out of Dallas. Denver will beat Houston. I took Chicago over Green Bay.
Either you're going to be like 8 ahead of me, or I'm going to be 8 ahead of you, brother.
You got to roll the dice sometimes. Took the Bills over Tennessee and took Philadelphia over Minnesota. That's another one that's an iffy game for me.
I got to tell you, though, if to your point on that one, if Philadelphia does handle
It's
Minnesota,
in Philadelphia.
No, that's what I'm saying. If they handle them, but Jalen Hurts really threw the ball well, like deep down the field. Like it wasn't just throw it up and hope they catch it. Like it was precision passing. It was like he's taking his finger and putting it
Throwing it on a rope.
Yeah.
Throwing it
so
on a
we'll
rope.
see.
Now, I went against the hometown pick in the right now in the Indianapolis-Jacksonville game. I went against the hometown pick in Chicago-Green Bay because I really think there's problems in Green Bay.
Yeah, you
I
said
just
that the
think
other
there's
day.
problems in
Yeah.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
Now, my college picks, I took UGA over the Chickens.
Yep.
Oklahoma over Nebraska.
Oh, yeah.
Syracuse over Purdue. That one worried me a little bit.
Whoa.
I'm not sure
Who
about
you
that one.
taking? Who you taking?
Syracuse over Purdue.
Whoa! All right, that's good. That's good.
Notre Dame will rebound over Cal. I took BYU over Oregon.
Okay, now that's a pick.
Yeah, BYU over Oregon.
That's awesome. But you picked Notre Dame.
I did, but I might go back and change.
Well, I'm not questioning. What I'm saying is, not your pick.
I got down to late Thursday and needed to make picks for last night's game, so I just did it.
That's kind of what I did.
But I think I've got it set up that you can go in and change your picks up to 5 minutes before that game's time.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Because
that's
Notre Dame, I got a feeling that all the first-year hype and excitement of a coach, I really believe that is done.
I think they're in trouble too.
And they've got to win.
Yeah.
I really believe that, man.
Yeah. I took Ole Miss against Georgia Tech.
Oh, yeah.
This was another one up in the air for me. Took Penn State over Auburn, and I'm not sure.
I did too.
Wake over Liberty, Mississippi State over LSU,
Yep.
NC State over Texas Tech, Michigan State, Washington. Bill said he thinks that's the marquee game of the week, and it probably is. I did take Michigan State in that one. I took Maryland over SMU. And here's another one I just struggle with, Miami and A&M. Miami may roll into A&M and pick up a win there. Utah over San Diego State and Southern Cal over Fresno State. So that's my picks in the college ranks.
I got to tell you, Lanny, if Miami beats Texas A&M and all that trash that –
oh, I know.
That Saban and Jimbo were going at about money and NILs, and I don't know, man. Yep. I don't know.
Mikey said the students stormed the bus and shook it when it got into Boone yesterday. Brandon Eichert said Amazon should work more on and fix their audio-video feed. At times you had the play call before the snap. Most of the time that's what it is on the stream. There is a lag.
Oh, yeah.
The video is a little behind.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I can watch it as long as I'm not watching an interview and their mouth don't match up with what they're saying. Then I have issues. Richie said he took the Qs too, said he was torn with BYU, Oregon. Yeah. I think BYU because there's more stability in the program right now than there has been with Oregon with the change of Cristobal.
Right.
Milton, good morning to you. And Richie said Yosef jumped out in front of the bus to stop it. Well, that was just special. Now, let me say this. Let me get a serious thing here. We have a listener here, and Richie and Mikey will know him because they grew up with him, and I grew up with him and his parents in Krause. His name's Brian Huss. Saw on Facebook last night Brian's dealing with some cancer issues with kidney, and so he was asking for some prayer last night. So keep Brian Huss and his family in your prayers. I want to say Brian's in his early mid-40s. Help me with that, Richie. I think that's right. I know that his sister, Sandra, is my daughter's age, she's 38, and Brian's older. So I think Brian's early 40s, if I'm not mistaken. But just kind of keep that in mind, if you will. A couple stories before we have to get out of here because it's Friday and I got to get a lot of stuff done. This one may make you change your mind. Miami's going to be without their leading wide receiver. And I don't know if it's enough, but it might be enough. Just going to have to kind of see.
I think Texas A&M, they talk about their offense a lot, but I think their defense is really what has stepped up.
Yeah.
Now, I know they lost last week to App, but Appalachian could be a top 10 team.
Yeah.
Now, the issue App has is can they play with that energy and
every
enthusiasm
week.
and focus every week, right? So where would they finish in? When I say they can be a top 10 team, I'm talking about the current schedule and format that they have now. 10 may be a little high, 15 or 20 is fair. But
who was it? Somebody asked me, said, how does App beat Texas A&M and A&M stays in the top 25 and App don't make it?
Well, the reason is because there still is a difference between the players, whatever it is, that go to Texas A&M and the ones that go to App. Now,
but the Carolina game should have swung a little more weight to get them in the top 25. Now, if they had beaten Carolina, that would have been a no-brainer.
About
App.
Okay, and that's very fair. I mean, that's a good
because
point.
Mac's back, just in case you didn't know
That's a good point. Listen, I didn't know if you knew
Mac was back. Now, tonight, this was another question that I asked Bill. A big game tonight Of course, I won't see it till the end because I'm going to high school. Florida State, Louisville. Scott Satterfield needs the win, and Florida State does too as they're trying to rebuild that program. Florida State is only a 2.5-point favorite, so that's basically a toss-up. And Scott was able to pull out a big win last week. And so that's going to be a great game tonight. That's 7:30.
Lanny, it's interesting, like Louisville, like you're talking about with these games and, who they got coaching and things like that, right? It's interesting to me that there's so many places, and I say places, universities now that are willing to not go out and find the most experienced and best person available and relying on so much youth now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying that's just kind of breaking from – what I'm talking about, these very high.
You mean to tell
jobs.
You why I think that is?
And that's okay. We see that being a trend, and it's not working out so well for a lot of these places.
And
experience has everything to do with that.
I think the reason they're doing it doesn't match up with what's got to happen when you get there. The reason they're doing it, I think the younger coaches are better at relating to the players from a recruiting side, but they don't have the experience to get it done with the X's and O's. Now, if you're a young coach that can recruit and you can bring in that experience on the offensive and defensive coordinator side so that you bring that to the table – and sometimes I know, not taking anything away from Scott because I like Scott.
Oh, no,
I'm pretty sure Scott has nobody except Mark Ivy on his staff today that he had when he went to Louisville because most of his staff came with him from App.
Yeah.
And you have to make some changes there. You've got to.
Yeah, and again, I'm just making an observation.
Yeah.
I'll be very clear. There's opportunity.
But I think you're right. I just think that's why.
And what's happened is it's a style versus substance issue.
Yep.
Oh, I can relate with the kids. That's style. Now it can be turned into substance if you have the life experience to go along with the relationship.
Yep.
But if it's just relate to them to make them feel good, but not really bring any value when you step on the field or in life because you don't have any life experience yet, then what is the point?
Yeah.
Then you just keep snowballing and going down the same hole.
Yeah.
And I'm very confused, about that, with some of – and again, I don't think it's not right for – I think there's opportunity out there for everyone. But there's something to be said for experience and judgment, the value that's brought, with that. And we're so focused on media and hype that at some point people that write the checks are going to be like, you get me once. You got to
get performance. They're only going to back performance and end result.
And performance is only sustainable and consistent through process.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of opening it up to, whatever. But I've noticed that we're so excited about this person here. They bring this and all this energy and everything, but they start off, 1-5 or 0-2, and then 3 years later, we have to fire that.
And I don't see Andrew on here because he would be jumping at me because I'm going to talk about his boy Dabo. That's why it took Dabo 4 years to get established because he wanted to do it his way. He was a great recruiter.
Yeah,
that's why he got the job.
Yeah.
Top 5 in the nation. You didn't know the X's and O's. You were a wide receiver coach. You got to bring somebody in that's got the experience to help get you to where you need. Now, I've told you, right now, I hate this. I don't want to see Dabo with the play sheet in front of his face because that means he's calling plays. I don't want him calling plays. I want him hiring people who can call plays. I don't want to see this anymore on the sidelines. I want you just over there cheerleading like you do. I don't want to see you with the play sheet. No, I don't want to see that.
He needs a little note card.
No, I don't want to see that at all.
No, a note card.
No, I don't want to see it. No, I don't want to see it at all. Luke Combs is your guest picker at Appalachian tomorrow. And 4, Richie says he thinks your Pirates will win 8 games this year.
Yeah. And Mike Houston, I can't read what he said, but
he just said Houston's doing a great job with the dumpster fire he inherited.
Yeah.
That thing got rid of rough. It was rough there for a long time.
It just amazes me. I was so befuddled. I mean, Coach McNeil was, anyway, we got to move on from that. But he was so wonderful for the community down there. The players. that's exactly what that community in that school, the university, the fans needed. And all of a sudden, it wasn't good enough. And then look what happened.
Well, here's the thing, and I've said this.
Cow,
I say this all the
why?
time, especially with programs like that, and not taking anything away from ECU. Ruff was doing the best job he could do with what he had. With what he had,
They were winning.
yeah, but it wasn't enough. Sometimes people can't accept who they are, and they floundered around in conferences trying to play Northeast schools instead of trying to
For the longest time,
the
we were
ECU
independent.
has always been treated as a stepchild.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, for years we were independent. We were playing like when Miami was independent. We were playing them. We were playing
Yeah.
Syracuse. Now, I mean, I know they were in the big, but I mean, just it was all the time. I mean, we were going like 8-2, 9-1, 7-3, 7-4. What I'm just giving examples, and we couldn't get in the conference anywhere. And then they started the big Conference USA and all this stuff, and that was great. Whatever, just to get things started, but. Yeah, Mike Houston is the right guy for that job.
Absolutely, I agree.
And
Richie said he wanted him at Carolina.
Mike Houston would have been a great candidate for Carolina. I coached against Mike when I was in the mountains. When I coached at Irwin High School in Asheville, Mike was the coach at TC Robertson.
Right.
And Robertson was not a very traditional good football school until he got there. And he made it incredible.
Well, look what he did at Little Ryan, too.
Right. So he goes to Brevard with Coach Poss, Bobby Poss, who gets the head job at Brevard after he retired from high school coaching, AC Reynolds, a couple schools in Fayetteville, won several state championships. Coach Poss knew Mike, takes him, and goes to, Brevard. Well, the next thing you know, Fred Goldsmith's the coach at LR.
Right.
All right. I coached against Coach Goldsmith. He was at Franklin. Irwin and Franklin, same conference along with TC. So those are really good. There's some great coaches in our conference. Next thing I know, Mike leaves Brevard, and he is at LR a couple years later. What did Coach Goldsmith do? I recommend Mike for the job. Next thing you know, he's at Citadel, JMU.
Yep.
Man, I'm telling you, this guy knows what he's doing.
He does.
He knows what he's doing.
Yep. No, there's no doubt about that. No doubt about that.
And he's not afraid of a player that maybe is a one or two or three star player, maybe even less, that's got a tremendous amount of grit. Because I think that's where Appalachian State kind of made their statement, Lanny's. They had kids that had chips on their shoulder because they were looked down upon by
because
other
they didn't
schools,
get picked up somewhere else.
and they played harder. Mike's not afraid. Coach Houston's not afraid to, go out recruit the 5-star kid and get some of them. But he's not afraid of a kid that's got grit because he knows that kid's going to give you more than what athleticism can bring.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say, I think Donnie's his recruiting coordinator.
I'm gonna tell you something.
And I go all the way back to high school with Donnie.
Yeah, it's a great combination, for that school in that part of the state. It really is.
Yeah. No. And how many students at ECU now? It's on up there.
I haven't
right?
checked lately, but I think it's close to 23,000, something like that. It was 17 when I was down there.
Yeah.
And they were all on campus then. Now you have a lot of remote and on this. I mean, there's still a lot of people on campus. But it was really neat. A lot of the people that I graduated with or went to school with down there, at ECU, they were moving their kids in. So I was getting to follow that, on Facebook.
Yeah.
They're moving their kids into dorms and seeing things, just reminiscing. That was neat. That was neat.
All right, we're going to head out of here. I'm starting to have my internet issues. Hopefully Monday will be a better day, and we won't have our internet issues.
Sorry for the drop bomb. I couldn't get on there, and I was just coming by to say, hey, I didn't realize you were.
It's okay. Door's always open.
But
If it's
I enjoyed
not, I'll
being here
unlock
today.
it. Y'all have a great weekend. Don't forget, we got high school football tonight. We're christening the new East Lincoln Field. They're playing at home tonight.
So East Lincoln
I'm sorry, North Lincoln.
North Lincoln.
Statesville,
It's done.
Statesville
right?
at North Lincoln.
That's a wonderful thing.
We will be live from North Lincoln tonight. We've changed that games 3 times. So we originally on schedule was Bandy's West Lincoln, and then we felt like Hickory East Lincoln would be a better game.
Oh, yeah.
And then North Lincoln contacted us. They were going to be playing at home, so we wanted to go ahead and go down there. And then the boys will be here in the morning at 8 o'clock. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.
Go Blue.